everybody, Stippling Vaughn, and we know where we are. We are at our local dive bar. College football season has started, so today we'll have on some college football games. The piece I'm working on is Titan, the Mighty Mouse. So I'm working on the fan piece for that. There's an art contest submission. And of course, remember, as always, this sponsor of the video is Scat Investigators, my ash can. Follow the adventures of two Pennsylvania game wardens as they protect the monsters that go bump in the night from us. It is done in a fanzine format. It's all 100% stippled, 8 stippled pages. You don't see too much along the lines of, there's no dialogue. It's just the stippled pages. But it gives you a good sense and feel for how I do my pages. All the artwork in the sequential pages are 100% stippled as I'm doing this piece. This has been a very exciting week. Aaron Lopresti finally has launched his Wraith of God's Blood Hunters. And I was a big fan of his first book, Wraith of God. In the first book, his character, the Wraith, and his companion, Esther, they fought werewolves. This time, they're fighting vampires. It's a full story, and then along with it, you get another story of his character, Garbage Man. The history behind Garbage Man is very interesting. Dan DiDio, when he was in charge of DC Comics, he wanted a version or a rip-off character of Swamp Thing for them to use in DC Comics. The reason why is because Swamp Thing was licensed to Vertigo, so you couldn't have Swamp Thing in a DC comic book. But he wanted a character like that, so he asked Aaron to come up with a character. Then when they got the rights back to have Swamp Thing in the regular DC Comics, he allowed Aaron to keep Garbage Man. So there's going to be a Garbage Man story, Night of the Living Jed. The colors are being done by Dan Lawless. And Dan Lawless puts a completely different style from regular inkers. So the Garbage Man story has a very distinct look to it. He also has another backup story called The Nightclub. When he got the rights back to do for Garbage Man, he had it printed up through Dark Horse. But when he originally did it, he had Batman in it and a couple members of the Justice League. Well, he couldn't use those characters, so he created his own characters, and I guess he redid those pages, or at least those panels, with these characters that he's referring to as the Nightclub. And so he has them, so he's got a story with them also. So you'll have Wraith of God, Blood Hunters, Garbage Man, Night of the Living Jed, and then you have a story by the Nightclub. He also has available now t-shirts, hats. They're available on the campaign. I would advise everybody to check out his campaign. I am a big fan of Aaron Lopresti's work. I wish he would re-release his Wraith of God series as a line art edition. No dialogue, no colors, just black and white inks. So you can really study his work. And that's one of the nice things about how he does, when he does his live streams, you can really see how he goes about the process of getting these pencils. And he works still traditionally with just black and white, no computers. And I love that. I hope he continues to do that. I hope he doesn't go by the way of digital like some of the other creators are. I'm a traditionalist when it comes to that. And you can really see it because there's a lot of happy mistakes that you get with doing it traditionally that you... with digital, it's... no matter how far along the digital era has come, there's too many times, for me personally, I feel that the work looks too sterile. And I don't know, it's just, I'm getting to the point where I can kind of tell when something's done digitally versus traditionally. So, today, Saturday, the 10th of September, Rini, she is launching her second campaign, Fiendish. Fiendish is one of those books that I didn't get book one. She did have a campaign for a Dinged and Damaged edition, and I did back that. I'm expecting to get it sometime next week. Once I have it, I'll read it. I'll then decide whether to get Volume 2, which launches today. One of the reasons why I'm a big fan of Rainey isn't necessarily her work. It's because I remember when she first came on the scene, and the first time I ever met her was either on Dan Fraga's channel when he was doing his Fragtober or Fragajoon, I can't remember which, and he had her on. And then she went, it's either that or on Michael Bancroft's show. She was on Michael Bancroft's show, and she was only maybe 18,000 backers, and just the joy being on Michael's show and experiencing the Bancroft bump. She was so excited and so thankful to all the fans. And then as people in the Comicsgate community really got to know her, and she really started to start popping on other shows, and seeing her interact with so many other creators, I just made me even more of a fan. And then when she started to get these attacks by people that are still clinging to the mainstream industry, instead of being happy for her success, they're speaking about it in a disparaging way of oh my God, I'm so disappointed in her. That's not the way you do things. Okay, you're burning bridges when you do that. I mean, I really don't like to burn bridges with people I don't even know, but at the same time also, it's I'm really disappointed how she's come under so much attack when she has put in so much work into the book she's doing without anybody's support, really. Because you really take a look, Phoenix, she did that all on her own. She was not trying to get on other people's shows to promote her book. She wasn't trying to oh, can you please? No, she was just so thankful. And that's one of the things that where independent comics is really flourishing, is you get on these shows and they experience an increase in the backers they get, and they are so thankful and grateful to the backers for believing in her and backing her book. So once I have that in my hands, I'm going to read it, and I'm going to then determine if I want to back Fiendish 2. I probably will. okay, I'm being bluntly honest, I'm probably going to, but I still want to get that first book to decide. And the reason why is because, and this is nothing against Rini and her style, it's just one of those where it's like, I'm not a huge fantasy fiction fan when it comes to comics. I just never have been. So, she's gonna win me, she has to win me over. I think she will, but I'm not gonna back her just to throw shade at these naysayers that have been very disappointed in. The reason why I'm really disappointed is because the industry is in a downward spin, and it's just getting worse and worse. And instead of us coming together to make it better, those that are forged in their own paths are being met with opposition by people that aren't even working in the industry anymore, or are clinging to the old model of doing things, and it's really disappointing. It's so depressing to go into a comic book store now, and there's so little that you want on the shelves. So, and then lastly, oh my God, I would kill for the numbers that Dale Keown got. He did his very first YouTube stream. He was drunk. He lasted only about a half hour streaming, and then he passed out. It was a 6-hour stream of him basically sleeping. And he got over 1,000 followers just sleeping. Think about it. Dale Keown is so good. He can get over 1,000 followers, getting himself well in the way of being monetized, and he slept through it. So imagine what happens when he starts really streaming and getting the watch hours to finally get himself to the point where he's officially able to get himself monetized. And I think he's going to do it. All he has to do is stream once more and have maybe some people on with him that he can then get himself monetized. I can see him by the end of the month, the show that he goes on every Friday night, The Ballers. I can see him being in the rotation. Right now, the rotation for The Ballers is Shane's channel, Mandy's channel, and PTP's channel. I can see, and Dale's just there for the ride. I can see by the end of this month, he will be in the rotation. And with him being in the rotation, it means he's eligible for super chats. So, really excited. I mean, like I said, I would kill anyone who YouTubes would kill to be able to fall asleep in your live stream and wake up and you have 1,000 subs. That's amazing. And that just shows how supportive Comicsgate and independent comics creators are. And it's why I'm loving it so much. So, but as we all know, because of opposition you get from people who are outright, let's just put it, okay, they can phrase it and state their argument however they want. It all comes down to jealousy. They are jealous of what these guys are doing on their own without the permission of the mainstream. Because you gotta keep in mind, a lot of these people, they either left the mainstream because they didn't like what was going on, or they're kicked out of the mainstream because they spoke their mind and didn't go along with what everybody else thinks. And what are they doing? They're taking the bull by the horns. They're having fun. They're creating books. And what are these people doing? They're throwing shade, talking bad about them. It's sad. But that's where a community comes in, because a community uplifts and supports each other. And that's the reason why the Comicsgate community is so important and so successful. It's a community. But remember, everybody, life is stressful, and that's why I'm just going to take it one dot at a time.